Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to brand new video. This is the latest Arsenal news and transfer news as well. Thomas Partey is leaving Arsenal, done and dusted and confirmed. Fabrizio Romano has given us a brutal update. I mean, it's one of those updates that I never expected, but I knew it was coming. Fabrizio Romano confirming that Thomas Partey will leave Arsenal this summer. Now there is a good chance they will sign a new midfielder. And this information has been backed up quickly by the podcast that has been made by Charles Watts and Team News and Ticks, where it has been confirmed that Arsenal are looking to sign a curtain raiser. And a curtain raiser, a difference maker to the squad. And that player is going to be in midfield rather than a striker. So we have a lot to talk about. Is it Bruno Guimaraes you want to replace Partey? Is it Joao Neves you want to replace Partey? Or do you have someone like Douglas Luiz? I don't know the options you guys have in terms of a number 6, but Thomas Partey is leaving Arsenal this summer. Thoughts and opinions in the comment box below. A like button for this one would be absolutely Guimaraes. Now let's get into it. Let's start off with the story on Fabrizio Romano's timeline, confirming that Thomas Partey is going to be leaving Arsenal this summer, and therefore Arsenal are going to sign a new midfielder. That is also confirmed. I think Fabrizio has talked about a new midfielder for Arsenal for quite some time. He's a very reliable source. I like him, and he has always told us that they will sign a striker, but they have a big admiration to add something to the midfield. Last season they did something, or last summer they did something when they added Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, who potentially had to be a midfielder. They're now going to add someone else, and I think the fact that Kai Havertz has developed into one of the best strikers Arsenal have at the moment means that the plan was disrupted. The plan was for Kai Havertz to play alongside Martin Odegaard in that kind of double number 8 system with Declan Rice behind them. And I think that has not really worked out for Mikel Arteta. Declan Rice is not as calm and composed. I wouldn't say really not calm and composed, but I don't think it's your Partey. He's not your Rodri. He doesn't want to stay central a lot of the time, like you see Partey, like you see Rodri. Declan Rice wants to drive and get into the penalty area and do those attacking actions, which is actually very good. But you need someone to control the game from the best of the midfield. That is what Partey does, and that is what Jorginho does. So we have seen that Declan Rice is either not capable of doing that, or he's capable of doing that, but it's a wastage of his talents, because his talents are much better further forward in the pitch, going up in the penalty area, scoring headers against Brentford, scoring beautiful goals against Man United, and all that kind of stuff. So that means that the midfield plan for Mikel Arteta was disrupted. Declan Rice has become the number 8 and Kai Havertz has become the number 9, which means that Arsenal last summer did not sign a number 6, right? Because the number 6 was Partey, was Rice, who has turned into a number 8, and the number 8 was Kai Havertz, who has turned into a number 9. So you have to go back to the drawing board and you have to go and sign a number 6. Partey leaving is sad. Very, very sad. And I think I've seen one of the, a very beautiful post on Twitter. Someone has said, Partey leaving Arsenal this summer is something that is very, very bad for us. And the reason as why that is bad is you think about Man City and that pivot that they have created with Rodri. That is the reason why Man City are not losing games. I mean, put this into perspective. Man City are approaching 70 plus games without losing in 90 minutes with Rodri starting in any of those games. So that means that Rodri is such a significant part of that team. Rodri is such an invisible player in that team. How they have not done an invisible season, we do not know, right? And like Jack Grealish said, with players like Rodri in the team, Man City are still favourites to win the title next season. So for me, Partey leaving Arsenal is very sad, because Partey would be our Rodri. Partey would be that guy that controls the midfield for us, wins the ball back very well. I like his tackling. I like the way he picks up yellow cards. They are very intended and they're very, helpful, right? So I would love Partey to stay. But when we look at the bigger picture and when we think about why Mikel Arteta has decided that Partey is no longer a fit for this Arsenal side and Partey is no longer the player to trust at Arsenal, you understand it. I understand it, and so should you. Partey is leaving because Arsenal are looking for a curtain raiser. Arsenal are looking for a more reliable guy. Arsenal are looking for someone that can help us, maybe control midfields more by either being more durable and available, or even giving us something that Thomas Partey doesn't give us. So today, Team News Antics together with Charles Words, they have revealed that Arsenal are looking to sign one ceiling raiser, or I would love to call them curtain raiser, this summer, and want to fill up the squad with better quality to raise the flow. The ceiling raiser is likely to be a midfielder and not a striker. Edu and Mikel Arteta still working very hard behind the scenes to make sure that we get the quality we need to compete with Manchester City. And that's why at times I really, really do respect these two guys. They have not won anything this season, but I still think they're doing the job right and they're still committed to whatever is going to take Arsenal in the right direction. So Partey leaving is a big blow. But it had to happen. For me, it had to happen last summer. And I think Mikel Arteta trusted his gut. And, he thought with Declan Rice coming in, with Jorginho coming in, with Partey around, I can swap them around. I can do this and that. And maybe we can minimize the injury-prone nature of Thomas Partey. But there's no way you're going to minimize the injury, prones of Partey when you know as a person that when he is fit, he's the only guy you want in that midfield. So that was a mistake. That was mistake number one. Arsenal should have cashed in on Thomas Partey last summer because this season, he's literally played 4-5 games, right? So 4-5 games. So we should have cashed in on Thomas Partey and should have brought in a number 6, right? Or we should have settled with Declan Rice as our number 6, knowing that Partey is gone. For me, that was mistake number one. Now we are going to sign a midfielder, a number 6, a very important player in that squad, in the way we play, and we are going to have him in a season where Arsenal are going for decisive things, where Arsenal have to make no mistake. That is one of my problems. We are going to have Elana in a season where we cannot afford to have Elana. We are going to have a new guy in a season where we are looking to hit 90 plus points. If you bring in someone who is a quick learner and they get to learn the new system quickly, that is all right. But if you bring in a player, let's say we bring in João Neves from Benfica, quite an interesting midfielder, young, 19. If you bring in that guy, or you bring in Martin Zubimendi, both of them are coming outside from us at the Premier League, and both of them are coming in from teams that play kind of very different systems from what Arsenal do. However, both players do play the same role. But it would take them time to get used to the physical nature of the Premier League, to get used to the complicated nature of Mikel Arteta's tactics and setup and all that kind of stuff. Which means that you're going to take another 10 games with your planning on how you're going to use these players, on how you're going to set up that season. It took us almost a whole half season for us to figure out what is Kai Havertz's best position, what is Declan Rice's best position, and what is Jorginho's best position when all these three, Kai Havertz, Declan Rice, and Martin Odegaard, are playing. And you saw that in the last half of the season, Arsenal won almost 18 games out of 16 games out of 18. That was impressive. But why we didn't win the title was because we fumbled during the beginning part of the campaign. We were still figuring out, where does Kai Havertz really play? Where does Declan Rice really want to play? Where do they fit in this our system? So still, I'm not 100% convinced about Arsenal going for the juggernaut, but Partey has to go. Now, there are two players that are leading the rest to become the next number 6 at Arsenal. At least we can confirm that. And I can say one of them is Bruno Guimaraes, and I know many of you love Bruno Guimaraes, and the other is João Neves. João Neves, I like. Bruno Guimaraes, I like better. But I've got problems and issues with both of them. And I'm going to do a whole dedicated video about Guimaraes and a whole dedicated video about João Neves. Who should replace Thomas Partey? For me, the qualities should be the same. Anyone who wants to replace Partey must be a very calm head, without the ball, and a very visionary head and mind in possession. So when I think about João Neves and I think about Bruno Guimaraes, I think Guimaraes is more of a hothead as compared to João Neves. But Bruno Guimaraes has been in the Premier League and he has proven that he's a very good ball winner. And he's also played in systems where he is the sole ball winner, especially at Brazil, where you're playing around Neymar, Paqueta, and all these other fancy footballers. And therefore, you've got to be the ball winner. Obviously, Lucas Paqueta is a very, very good hard worker. If people have not really noticed that, he's a very, very brilliant hard worker, especially off the ball. Really off the ball. But Bruno Guimaraes should be the leading candidate. He could be the leading candidate because we're hearing that Arsenal feel confident in him and they think he is a solid target. So if they're going to go out there and sign one player, it might be Bruno Guimaraes. It might be Guimaraes that comes in to replace Thomas Partey. And I don't have a problem with that. I think Guimaraes is really, really talented. So if that's what Mikel wants, I don't think it can really go wrong. I'm not 100% sure that Guimaraes would be a wrong signing. Can win the ball back. He is physical. He is quick, right? And he can create and he can score some goals as well. My problem was with Guimaraes. One, the hothead. He's one guy that might not pick up a yellow card because of a tackle, but he picks up a yellow card because he punches someone. It's more like of a Casemiro or a Joy Barton. So that's one of the problems I have, because in that position, we're looking for someone who can be your William Saliba, can play 38 games in a campaign. And I think Guimaraes can actually do that. This season, we have seen Guimaraes play alongside youngsters from the academy, alongside players that are not even, fit to play in the Premier League. And he has played, alongside them at Newcastle with the injuries they've had, and he has sustained that midfield. So I like him. And I think he's a good player. Is he going to go for 100 million? We wait and see what happens and what comes out of that. Now, the other player is João Neves. And João Neves is more likely, listen to me, more likely to come in and replace Thomas Partey, in my opinion. He's more likely. I think with Guimaraes, if it is 100 million, he will not come. 90 million, he will not come. Now, João Neves is a player that has been linked with a couple of clubs. Man United are there, of course. They're always there. Chelsea are there, but they don't need him. They have Caicedo. And a couple of other clubs. I have a strong feeling Mikel Arteta is thinking João Neves. Now, the thing with João Neves, if you've seen him play, if you've not seen him play, don't worry. I will do a video where we will have his clips and you'll get to see him and what he does. But the one thing you've got to understand about João Neves, he's just 19 and he's such a young player, so maybe he's not the curtain raiser and ceiling raiser. But who says a ceiling raiser or a quality player cannot be 19, cannot be 20? My problem with such players is that they come in at such a young age. Like you can see Kobe Mainu, you can see Martinelli. They kind of feel like they have time. They want to develop at their own pace. In that number 6 role, we need a player who has developed. We need a player who has already achieved that I can do it status. I think with João Neves, it's going to be in the next 3 years. So João Neves would be a very good signing for Arsenal 5 years ago. He would be a very good signing for Arsenal 3 years ago. Right now, quality player. I like him. He would be the smartest signing Arsenal have ever made if we sign him. But he's young. He's very, very young. But that is for another video. Partey is leaving. I think it's the right decision. Arsenal were never ever going to extend his contract anyway. That much we knew. And we knew that Mikel Arteta already has doubts about the fitness levels of Thomas Partey. And I think it is now known right? So don't be surprised if you see your boy João Neves as the next big thing in this Arsenal project. Don't be surprised if you see João Neves as the curtain raiser this summer, right? Obviously, we expect to see a striker. We expect to see more departures, at the club. Arsenal released a shortlist of 7 players that are going to be leaving. 7 players. Lokonga up there, and I'm going to discuss the 7 shortlist, right, in a video very soon. So this is the place to be for your transfers. It's a sad day that Partey is being confirmed as one of the players that are going to leave, but for me, I expected it. I expected in number 9. The moment I saw number 6, the moment I saw Declan Rice playing more of a number 8, I knew Arsenal were going to go out there and sign in number 6, right? And of course, now we have Jorginho signing a new deal. It means we're going to have someone who can be nurtured in that role slowly but surely as Mikel Arteta tries to get his, final squad together.